If you're wondering what your favorite tech stocks are going to do tomorrow morning, this is the video for you. We're going to talk about the VIX, Google, Microsoft, Meta, SPY, SoFi, Palantir, Nvidia, and AMD. This is going to be a very good week, I feel. Trump announced with the White House that they have reached trade deals with China. This is going to be crazy if it's the truth. We're going to talk about all of this and show you what you should be doing and what indicators you should be looking for. It's what I teach my Discord consistently on how to make profits in the market, is understanding the news, the sentiment, and what's happening in the market. And there's so much that goes into it, but stick around. Do not skip any of this video. There's going to be a lot of powerful information, and somewhere in this video, I'm going to explain to you how to gauge the market over the weekend to know what's going to happen on Monday morning. And you can utilize this strategy anytime during the week in the overnight hours. You don't want to miss this. It's a huge way to gauge what's likely to happen the following morning or Monday during the weekend. Let's dive right in. So the first thing we're going to look at is the VIX. And when you gauge the VIX, you can see how much fear was in the market between April 4th and April 11th or 14th. A lot of fear. And then it consolidated, which is uncertainty, which is in the $30 range, still heightened fear. Then it dipped between my medium and heightened fear, which is between this price right here of 25 and 30, and it slowly fizzled down, which is what happens because the tariff talks were, delayed 90 days and earnings were good. And so the fear kind of fizzled down with a few little spikes here and there. And now that we're getting closer to more trade deals, things got better over the last couple of weeks. Earnings were good. Economy seems strong and resilient despite the fact that there's tariffs. So it's fizzling out. And as this week comes into play with the data, if this data is good and the tariff talks with China did go pretty well, like Trump says it did, then it's going to fizzle down into the green and yellow zone, which in my opinion is buying opportunities. But we need to see it consistently down here in the $20 or less range for at least a couple of weeks for it to be solid, but it is signaling buys and the market is turning bullish to some degree. And I told my students in Discord that it was likely that the stock market almost for sure was going to turn around at the beginning of May because I had signals in dark pool data that all options that were bearish were ending at the end of April. And May 2nd and May 9th was bullish dark pool data with call options and put options with block and sweep orders. And the market started flying last week and the previous Friday, which was the 2nd to the 9th, exactly in line with what I said would happen. Meta ran over $100. SPY ran $30. We also had Microsoft that ran, Google, Nvidia, Walmart, all these stocks ran. And I told my students in Discord to buy these stocks, and they bought Nvidia, Microsoft, and they bought Walmart. We got in a Walmart at 84, Nvidia at 100, and we got into Microsoft Leap options when it was 405 and it ran to 437 and 440. So we made a lot of money in the Discord. And if you're looking at growing your portfolio the same way and you'd like to join Discord, you can do so at any time. It's what I love to do, is teach and help others just like yourself. The link's in the information box below, investwithcorey.com. You just have to click on training. When you get to the website, you'll be able to watch a video and book a call with my team and I so I can help you out, grow your portfolio, and understand the market. So with the VIX, we have data this week coming up. Inflation year over year on Tuesday, core inflation and month over month. And then, of course, we have retail sales and PPI month over month, which is Thursday. And then on Friday, building permits and housing starts. These are very important. This is a pretty big week for data. The Michigan Consumer Panel is going to be on Friday as well. So we have to take that into account. Looking at Nvidia, they have earnings coming up on May 28th, and they're already at the top of the average weighted price, which is my custom indicator setup called AVP. And this is what I use to gauge market's average price action, where it's going and where it's been and where the top and the bottom is most likely to be. And right now it's at the top, so it's not advisable to be selling puts right now. Right now is to sell call options, but then again, the market could explode this week, so I would hold off on that. But if it was any other time and tariffs were long done and the market was just reaching a high, this would be a signal normally for call options. But right now it's not, because it looks like it's going to break through. And if it does, it's going to come all the way back up in the 140s, especially if earnings is good. Nvidia is strong, but the tariff talk has to be good. The data this week has to be good, of course. This goes for pretty much every stock in the stock market. But Nvidia, I believe, is going to crush earnings. And with the sentiment on tariff talk and how everything's working out and looking to work out this week, Nvidia is likely to fly on earnings on May 28th. But only time will tell. Nvidia is very strong long term, but their growth short term seems weak because over the last year, they've just consolidated. And this is typical. When a company reaches an apex like they have with massive growth every single month, every single year, every single earnings, there's a period of slowdown. When you have 100% market share or 80% market share, or even 70% of the market, you can't really get more. As time goes on, there's more competitors and more people start competing with you, making it very much impossible to have the exact same market share. Therefore, growth will slow at some point. All companies go through this. Nvidia has seen this, and with quantum and other types of AI and advancements and robots and these chips and the tariff talk cooling and data becoming better and things stabilizing, getting out of this 4-year kind of weird rut we've been in since COVID, I believe things will get better and Nvidia will fly. And in the coming few years, this is a stock you'll want to own. Next, we look at SPY. You have to understand that SPY is encompassing many stocks. Amazon, Apple, Microsoft, Meta, Google are the big ones. Apple's the biggest. So if Apple's going down, the SPY's going down. The only way to counteract Apple going down is you'd need other stocks going up. So if Apple's going down, you'd want Google, Meta, and Microsoft, one of the three, or all three, preferably, to be going up or consolidating to help stabilize SPY. In order to counteract Apple, you really would need Google and Meta to go up, or Google and Microsoft, or Meta and Microsoft. You would need two of them to be doing decently to counteract Apple, because Apple's the biggest holding. So sometimes you might be sitting there wondering, why is the SPY going down, but Microsoft and Google are going up? Well, it's because Meta's not doing anything or going down, hypothetically, and Apple's going down. And Amazon's also pretty big holding in SPY. So if one or two of them is not doing well, SPY will struggle. Understand this when you invest in the SPY. We can see officially we broke out of the downtrend. Not quite officially, not quite 100%, but right here, this line, we broke out of the 564 range. We broke out of the downtrend into consolidation and a break of structure right here, but it struggled. We really need to break 571 and hold it, and that will be a change of character completely and a break of structure again at 575. So this week, we need to see SPY push up like this into the 576 range, and that's an official break of structure, which is happening right here. I'll draw my line for you right there. This is the official price target we need right here, 576. We're on the cusp of this, and we just have to see how data plays out this week, but it's looking very, very bullish because of the tariff talks with China. As long as the data backs that up, it's going to be a double whammy, but in a good way. So we'll see what happens this week. Looking at Meta, same thing. Meta is got a lot of resistance at 608 and 611. But a lot of good news on Meta. They have some AI-driven search results, taking some from Google, a lot of strength, but there's also some support right here at 589. I expect that we are going to see a lot of movement on Meta this week, just like SPY, just like Nvidia, just like VIX, pretty much any other stock, because of the market and the tariff talk, which is so powerful and has so much of an effect on everything right now because how much weight it carries, how much fear, and how people are concerned and worried. And this is a big thing to understand because the moment tariff talk is announced officially on the deals, the stock market's going to fly if these deals are good. In fact, if they're not good, even if they're rough, it's probably still going to be better than nothing because right now is the uncertainty, the unknown, and people don't like that. Investors definitely don't like that. But Meta has a lot of resistance at 609. And it keeps falling back to 585, 580, 575, 590. Like between 570 and 90, there's a lot of support you can see right here. So what we need to do is Meta needs to come up, and we have to wait. We need to wait for Meta to come up and break right through this 611 range, come up, resist, and come back down. So we're looking for like a retest, essentially. It's got to come up, come back down, retest, and kind of consolidate with a support at around 611 or 605. We're waiting for that to happen. Likely to happen this week if the data is good like it should be, and tariff talks. Before we move along, I want to show you a very powerful strategy to gauge the market on Sunday, what's likely to happen Monday, and you can use it during the week. And this strategy works very well, and it's very accurate, like 85, 90% accurate of what's going to happen the next day. In fact, I would almost say that most times, maybe even 100%, because of the fact that it's futures data. So I want to show you how we're going to gauge this. You're going to go to the MES, which is the Micro E-mini S&P 500 on TradingView. You want to make sure to have CME data, which is futures data. You don't want it to be delayed. And you're going to come here and look at the mini S&P 500, and this will open up Sunday evening, 6 p.m. Eastern time. You'll be able to watch this data, and if the E-mini S&P 500 spikes up or it gaps up like this with a wick candle or just jumps up, it's going to fly. That means the sentiment overseas and in the futures market before the market even opens are preparing for bullish activity. They're buying in. And if this happens and these candles gap up, which I think they're going to, by the time you watch this video later tonight, odds are the market, the futures market that is open, and you'll be able to see what's happening. If the SPY, the S&P 500, the mini S&P 500 index jumps up to 57.13 or even 57.40, anywhere between these marks or higher, it is going to be an insane day tomorrow morning. If it drops down here, then that means there's a lot of bearish sentiment, and there is likely bearish sell-off going to happen tomorrow morning briefly as we await inflation data on Tuesday. Now, with inflation data coming on Tuesday, it's likely that it would consolidate or slightly slip. But because Trump and the White House announced that tariff deals with China were very good and they're progressing, and apparently, from what I've read, they've reached a deal, odds are it's going to gap up. And I would not doubt it would even gap up pretty high. So this is how you gauge the market in the overnight hours or on Sundays. Do you see this gap right here? If this gap happens tonight, Sunday at 6, 7, 8 o'clock tonight, or even midnight, but anywhere when the market's open, the futures market that is, if it gaps up like that, this week's going to be great. We also have gap downs like this. That means it could be a rough week. If we just see what we saw last week, which is just some consolidation like this right here, slow consolidation overnight, it doesn't really matter if it's going down or up. If it looks like this, really slow or really slow up, it's not as important. It just means there's a lot of indecision. But this is one of my powerful strategies I teach in the Discord, just one of hundreds. If you're enjoying these strategies, you want to learn more, I would love to help you. So it drives me every single day. The link's in the information box below. Click on that link. Go to my website, investwithcorey.com. Click on training. You'll be able to watch a video and book a call with my team and I so that I can help you achieve your goals. The only thing that concerns me with Google is the fact that they have the lawsuit going on. I'm not so concerned with the lower search results via Google through Apple with that announcement last week, is Google's not just a search engine. They have AdSense, ad revenue. They have YouTube. They have Gemini AI, Willow Quantum. They just partnered with Microsoft, and this is not really a big deal. The reason why this sell-off happened, and it looked worse than it normally would have been, is because big institutions aren't investing right now. It's a trader's market. Day traders are just buying things up and selling and shorting and buying, and it's really a trader's market. It really is. So when this news came out, it got shorted, and there was no institutions to buy it up because the institutions aren't investing outside of tariff resolve. And because we don't have any tariff resolve yet, or as of last week we didn't, then that is the reason why this happened. If we were in a normal market and this started happening, it wouldn't even have looked like this. It would have sold off a bit, got bought up, and then ran like a couple of days later, most likely, or it would have just consolidated. Anyone who bases their thesis on Google solely on search engine results doesn't truly understand Google. There's a lot more going on here. If you've ever thought about investing in QBS or Rigetti, you should really think about Google, because Willow is significantly more powerful and Google has a lot more money and they're ahead of everyone in the quantum space. So when you think about this, Google's price to sales is also very low. In fact, it's low enough where there's a 2 to 3x return in the next 3 to 5 years, meaning Google's likely to be $400 or $500 in the next 3 to 5 years. Google is definitely a lot more than a search engine. Looking at Microsoft, it is honestly the strongest stock right now, in my opinion, of the Big Mag 7. They passed Nvidia. Anybody who remembers my previous videos on YouTube or anyone who's in my Discord will remember I've said it many times since last summer, especially last summer when Microsoft was below Nvidia for market cap. I told everyone that Microsoft would pass Nvidia on market cap. When we look at Nvidia, their market cap is $2.84 trillion and Microsoft is $3.26 trillion. Even though right now, Microsoft's the largest market cap, based on facts and analytics and data, Microsoft will achieve $4 trillion by the end of this year, early next year. It is the best investment, and anyone who would have ever thought about investing in the stock market 5 years ago, I would have told you guys Microsoft was it. Very strong, working with Google, great AI. Microsoft is very, very strong. As we can see, their earnings, just let this sink in. Their earnings revenue beat by $1.63 billion. Palantir, stock that everyone loves, picks up contracts that are like $400 million for a 5-year contract. Microsoft beat the earnings by 4 times the amount of Palantir's 5-year Project Maven contract. That 5-year contract that they received, which was huge, Microsoft beat their quarterly earnings revenue 4 times more than that amount. Let that sink in, how much money Microsoft has and how much money this behemoth of a company is generating. Very strong. And when you look at the fundamentals, the technicals, and the price action, not only did it change character and break structure all the way up, it broke every structure, and we're all the way back up into December and January's highs and lows. As long as tariff talk keeps going the way it's going now, we get deals and things get worked out, then Microsoft's floor right now is the same as it would have been in December or January, which is 405 to 410, maybe 415-ish, like right around here. But when tariff talks get better, I would go out a month and sell 405 or 410. If it drops to that price, perfect to get in, but not quite yet. We want to make sure we see how things go this week before we jump in or make any quick decisions. Looking at Palantir, I would not buy this stock right now. I love Palantir, but I just can't say it's a great idea. We have a double top peak on the daily and weekly chart. It resisted. I told all of my students in the Discord in a coaching call last Monday to get out of Palantir with the collar strategy, that it was a bad idea to be in Palantir after earnings because of the double top peak. It was going to sell off. And it did just that. I have students that made a lot of money running the collar strategy and getting out of Palantir. It's very, very important to understand these types of signals. And this is what I teach the students in Discord. And you can see right there on the screen, my student that got out with Palantir on this strategy, the collar strategy. If you guys are looking to sign up for Discord, the link's in the information box below. Click on training when you get to the website and book a call with my team and I. There's a video there you have to watch, but you'll be able to do that. Palantir, you can see right here, double top peak. This was the second peak. Comes down, comes back up, and now it's coming down again. It has the opportunity, if it holds this price, to break through. But I would not want to be buying until it comes up. And then I need to see the price come back down and bounce off 124 and go up. I need to see it come through, break through, retest. I'm waiting for this retest right here. This is a retest. I need to see this. It needs to break through, come back, some sort of retest between 124, 125. That's where I would go out and sell puts, or you could do it now. If you really want in Palantir, my AVP is right down here. Another strategy I teach my students. I would want to sell put options around $90 going a month out. That is the only way that I would trade Palantir right now. I definitely wouldn't do it because looking at this price action, there's a good chance it could pull back down even with good tariff talks. But I believe in Palantir, so I don't think this is the more likely scenario. I think it'll break through but I'm waiting for the retest. To buy it right now straight up would just be a bad idea. We have to wait for more data. Looking at SoFi, very strong, even with the tariff talks and all of the things going on in the market, we can see that it's held this $11 range very strongly. In my opinion, the best way to get into SoFi is really trying to get in between 10 and 11, somewhere down here. So I would personally go out 6 weeks at a time selling $11 put options, because the premium you're going to get is going to give you a break even of 10.50. So even if the stock drops, you're going to have a 10.50 average. And if you don't, it's just a lot of free premium. You could miss the move. So maybe you just might want to sell $12 puts or $11.50 puts to get in if it drops and doesn't quite make it all the way down into the 11 or the 10.50 range. It really depends on what you're looking to do. But me personally, I will be selling $11.50 and $12 puts going out a month, and maybe a few $11 puts to kind of diversify, to add more position to SoFi, because this is a stock that is definitely going to grow. Price to sales right now is around 4. They had a 2 last year. They ran to 6 and they pulled back to 4 based on market cap and based on price. If we base the price to sales and their revenue and the fact that they are doing so well, and we look at all the data, clear and simple, they have a very good potential for a 2 to 3x return over the next 1 to 2 years. We could see SoFi in the 25 to 30 range in 2026 or sooner. Another great stock, mid to long-term hold, and I believe in the stock based on all of their fundamentals, the technicals, their revenue, their earnings, great CEO. Everything is good. Another stock you want to watch this week to get into. This stock is likely to consolidate this week. It could drop a little bit if data is not good or if tariff talk's bad, like any other stock. But overall, a stronger stock than the others in many ways, because they don't rely on imports and exports. So tariff talk doesn't affect them as greatly. Understanding the market can be very, very tricky, but I've showed you guys some data points and how to analyze the market over the weekends going into Monday morning, as well as overnight during the week. I feel like this week is going to be a very strong week, and we're just waiting on data. If data is good, it will be even better. But even if data misses slightly this week, if tariff talks are good, it will counteract it. Just like if tariff talks aren't the greatest and the data is great, it will be good too. In its own way. It's going to be kind of neutralish, maybe slightly bullish if one of the datas are good. But if the data is good and the tariff talk is good, the market is going to have a lot of bullish sentiment this week. I think a lot of investors will start getting in, and big money will definitely start getting in once tariff talk becomes more concrete. So keep your eyes on the strategies I showed you on the E-mini S&P 500 to show you guys what's likely to happen tomorrow morning. You guys will be able to do that tonight on TradingView. So take a look at that, and I will see all of you guys on the next video, and hopefully soon in the Discord. You guys can book a call at any time with the link in the information box below. I look forward to seeing you again soon and helping you grow your portfolio. Take care, fam.